Now we want to factor to find the x-intercepts. We know that we have y equals 120 x squared minus 20 x cubed. And to find the intercepts, we'd want that to equal 0. So factoring, we can take a 20x squared out. That would leave us 6 minus x equals 0. So x squared would equal 0. So x would equal 0. And 6 minus x equals 0. So x would equal 6. Those would be our intercepts, and we can see that fairly clearly from the graph also. Next, the positive output values that result from when input values are between 0 and 6, and that's what we wanted to have them. Thus, the non-negative x values that produce positive amounts of photosynthesis are 0 is less than x is less than 6, or between 0 and 6. We graph that function with this viewing window to show the region that is appropriate for the model, from 0 to 6 for the x values, and from 0 to 700 for the y values. The total cost of producing a product is given by this cost function. C of x equals x cubed minus 12x squared plus 3x plus $9,000. That $1,000 is important. Where x is the number of hundreds of products produced, how many units can be produced to give a total cost of $45,000? Well, when we're setting this equation, we have to remember that it said this was in thousands of dollars. So we want our cost function, 3x cubed minus 12, x squared plus 3x plus 9 to actually equal 45, because it's 45,000. Getting this on one side to equal to 0, we can have x cubed minus 12x squared plus 3x. We'll subtract 9 minus 45 will be negative 36 equals 0. Oh, maybe this will be grouping. There's an x squared there, and that'll leave me an x minus 12 plus 3 there will also give me an x minus 12 equals 0. So my two factors will be x squared plus 3 and x minus 12 equals 0. While solving this, x squared plus 3 equals 0 will give me an x squared equals negative 3. And that will give us no real solutions, so that really can't work. So x minus 12 equals 0. We find out x equals 12. This means, now x is the number of hundreds of units produced, so it will be 1,200 units produced to have with a total cost of $45,000. Another way to solve polynomial functions is to find the real roots for equation x to the nth equals c, take the nth root of both sides. So x equals the nth root of c if n is odd, because then my answer will depend on if c is positive or negative, then we'll have a then we can have a negative root if c is negative. But x equals plus or minus the square root of c to the nth if n is even and c is greater than or equal to 0, since we can't find a square root or a fourth root of an odd number. Let's solve some of these equations. So we have x to the third equals 64. Well, what we're going to do is just take the third root of both sides. So the third root and the third root. The third root and cubing it cancels each other out. So x will equal, and the third root of 64 is 4. So we've solved that equation. This one, we want the x to the fourth by itself before we find the roots. So let's divide by 5. X to the fourth equals 81. And now I can take a fourth root. And x can equal, now because this is a fourth root and it's even root, plus or minus. And then the fourth root of 81 is 3. So plus or minus 3. Here we have a square root. Let's start by dividing by 4. So x squared will equal 50 fourths. And let's take the square root of both sides. So x will equal plus or minus the square root of 50 fourths. Now we can break that into the square root of 50 over the square root of 4. So x will equal plus or minus, now 50 is 25 times 2, so will equal 5 times the square root of 2 over square root of 2. The square root of 4 is 2. So this would be the solution. Now, the future value of $10,000 invested for 3 years at the interest rate R compounded annually is given by this equation. Find the rate R as a percent for which the future value is $11,910.16. Well, let's fill that in. So $11,910.16 equals the 10,000 times 1 plus R cubed. Let's start by dividing by the 10,000. That has 4 zeros, so 1, 2, 3, 4 places. Be 1.191016 equals 1 plus R cubed. Oh, I can take the cube root of each side. So the cube root of the right-hand side is going to be 1 plus R, since the cube root and the cube cancel out. Let me show you how to find a cube root on your calculator if you're not sure. So on your calculator, if you go to Math, you will find the number 4 is a cube root. So we can pick 4. We'll automatically be finding a cube root of 1.191016. And enter that, we'll find the cube root is 1.06. Well, we found out that the cube root of 1.191016 was 1.06. So if we subtract 1 from both sides, R will equal 0.06. So as a percent, R will equal 6%.